Hello Mystical family, it's Amanda here again from Mystical Dragon, bringing you another Oracle card deck to take a closer look at. And this week I am bringing you lots of fairy love with the Faery Temple Oracle, a really divinely, the imagery is so divine. It's a real beautiful deck to be able to use and work with. This is a more oversized deck, so it is a slightly bigger deck than your average Oracle card deck, but still manageable. I know for some of you it can be a little bit too much of a handful, but certainly I find it still manageable to be able to use the larger decks as well. But the imagery is just stunning. So the Faery Temple Oracle is by Suzy Cherub, and the artwork is by Christine Karron. And like I said, it really is a very pretty deck. We'll just dive in and have a look at the guidebook first. It's got some really pretty imagery throughout. It has a nice little welcome and talking a bit about the fairies. So introducing you to the fairies and that fairy energy itself and working with the fairies. Plus, of course, a bit of an introduction to how to work with the Faery Temple Oracle, a little bit about Oracle decks in general as well. So things like trusting your intuition, intention is the key, all those lovely, wonderful things that we do need to remember. And there's a really nice consecrating your deck and also a little devotional energetic practice to really help you in connecting more deeply with your deck before you start working with it, and even during working with it, you know, because you will be working with it across months and years ahead. So it's good to just revisit that every so often if you feel called. Now there are quite a few spreads that go along with this oracle as well, which are quite unique to this deck. There is of course a single card spread. I really love the names that she has for her spreads. So we've got the Fairy Whispers of Wisdom is the single card spread. Fairy Whispers at a Crossroad for her 2-card spread. There's a 3-card spread which is Fairy Whispers at the Wishing Well. There's Fairy Whispers of the Heart, which is her 4-card spread. And then there's also a Life Path reading, which is an 8-card spread as well. So really easy to be able to follow the spreads and how to do them in this guidebook. And then we dive straight into the card meanings. Now you don't really get lost with your cards and this deck because of course you've got a little image of your card, so you know straight away, yep, that's the right card, which I do love that with your guidebooks, because occasionally you can get tripped up with getting lost in your guidebook as to where that particular card is, or do I have the right card? So that can be really handy. So we have a keyword with each and every card, a few extra keywords, I suppose more minor keywords in there as well. And then a really nice explanation. So as you can see, quite a bit of information per card for the interpretation and explanation. Plus each card has its own affirmation as well. And that's for each and every card that is in the deck. So good amount of information with a slightly larger guidebook, that helps too. Helps with being able to read it and use the guidebook as well. So really nice little guidebook that goes with this deck. And the colours and the imagery in this deck are just divine, like really beautiful. So each deck has got your beautiful image. It's also got the main keyword or key concept for each card, plus those extra few little keywords that are on each and every card. So that tends to make it a bit easier when you're reading. So you might not always be referring straight to the guidebook. You know, you can start to really allow that intuition to speak to you through the imagery, through the colours, through the keywords on each card as well. So the more that you kind of work with the deck, the less you might find you're reaching for that guidebook, which is great. A really lovely energy You've got feminine and masculine energy represented in the deck as well. And it's good for your spiritual side of things, as well as some of the more practical, mundane stuff as well are covered in the cards too. I really find that this deck is a good one for beginners and for the more advanced. Like, there is enough information for the beginner without being overwhelming. It doesn't have lots of advanced concepts in it, so a more advanced reader could pick up this deck and utilize it in many different ways. But a beginner could pick up this deck, read the guidebook, and really be able to start reading without any dramas at all. And like I said, with the couple of keywords, as I find it's not too much writing that it kind of takes over the card. So there's enough there that you could really hook in with your intuition and carry on a reading without using the guidebook. Or if you wanted to refer to the guidebook, of course you still could. So really easy to read with, really gorgeous imagery, really delightful deck to be able to read with and use. And of course, as I often talk about, you could definitely use this deck as a altar focus, like picking out cards from it, because the imagery is so beautiful. Whether or not you used the keywords with that or you just focused on this felt like an appropriate image, or for meditation focus as well. Beautiful deck to work with on multiple levels, not just for reading with. As always, if you enjoyed this review, please do like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Check out all the other videos we have reviewing oracle decks. We share spells. We discuss all kinds of different spiritual topics. So do follow along this journey with us. We have plenty more to come over the coming weeks and months. Thank you so much for joining me today. Wishing you a good rest of the day.